All right, this one's going to be complicated. What we're going to do is, if you'll look at this old mounting right here, I've already cut it free and this stone came out. These little blue stones are called Yogo sapphires. They're very pretty, but they don't take heat. So next, let me show you where they're going to go. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take this Yogo sapphire and put it right here where there used to be some other stone in there. I don't know what it was, but they want to put it right here. But look at this. It falls right through the mounting. And because the Yogo sapphire won't take heat, neither will these. So how are we going to make all of this fit with the holes too big without using heat? Okay, what I did was I ordered a couple of bezel settings, and if you'll see, this stone will fit into this bezel setting like this, and I'll show you how we bezel set it. But then I will take this bezel and see, now it is too big to fit in the hole. So now what I'll do is put it in there. But first, I want to set the stone first and then put the bezel into the ring. How do I hold this in order to set the stone? All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to solder this bezel to a little piece of brass stock. And because I already did the other one, if you look, now that bezel is soldered to a piece of brass stock. Now I have something to actually hold on to set the stone in. I just finished cutting my seat to hold this sapphire. Now, I believe it should fit right where it needs to. Let me make sure it's sitting level. It is. So now, I'm going to take this little pusher and I'm going to start bending that metal over that sapphire. All right, now once I've gotten around it a couple of times, the metal's not going to push down perfectly smooth, so I'm going to take this little graver and I'm just going to clean up around the edges to smooth everything out, and I'll do that 2 or 3 times. All right, so remember, these stones can't take heat. So instead of just basically heating it up and letting the solder flow, I'm going to have to actually cut them off of my holder here. These stones won't take heat. I have to cut them off of this holder. So let's see here. Looks like it. Is it going to come off there? There it goes. Come on. All right. So now give me just a second and I'll kind of grind these little spots off here, and then I'll show you where these are going to go. I've got that kind of trimmed off on the back. I'm not completely finished, but I can show you what we're going to do. That existing hole, there used to be something else in there. I don't know what it was. But now I'm going to have to clean that hole out, and I will sink this bezel in and kind of make it, bring the height up to this one. So my next step will be real carefully drilling that hole out to where this bezel will slide in there real tight, and I'll push it down and then we'll laser weld it in. All right, we just got great news. Before I sized this ring, because this was going to be a tricky sizing to go that far, that I thought, let me double check with my customer and just make sure they know how tricky this is. It could go disastrously wrong. And they decided to leave it this size and wear it on a different finger so we don't have to size it. So whew. At the end of is getting the bezels set for the Yogo sapphires. So if you'll look right down here, Anna, I've got one of them already set into place. It's just sitting in there, and this hole is almost the right size. I just barely have to move any more metal. And I've probably spent an hour just kind of moving that hole up a little bit. So let me get my other sapphire, and it should be ready to go into the hole. Oh, look at that. Even though it drops all the way through, that's no big deal, because what I'll do, if you'll look right here, this is red because once I got it done, I just wanted to keep this bezel and this hole together. So now I'll go in along here and kind of tack it with a laser. Then I can adjust the height a little bit. Then I'll laser it all in. But first, what I want to do, see this little lip right here? I want to go through and clean up and polish, because the only time I'll be able to get into here and polish is right now. So in order to do that, you know what I need to do is I need to mark, because this bezel has red on it. So I need to come up with a method, because when I polish it, let me pop this thing out of here. So what I'll do is let me reach up here and grab a different burr, like that one right there. Because that red Sharpie is going to come off. So it's on this side. So I'm going to come right inside the ring right here and just put a little divot right there. Now I know the red one goes on that side. So once I get it clean and polished, I can mark the red back. So anyway, now what we'll do is switch over to a brush. And some Triple E. And just spend a few minutes kind of coming in here and getting this all completely detailed out before we set those bezels permanently. I hope this does not fly out of my fingers and over my shoulder. What I've done was I just kind of barely tacked those bezels in there. Now this one, it's blue. I've just got red Sharpie on it. But I think I'm happy with this. But what I just made an executive decision, something I was really worried about, was how I would clean up my laser weld around here and especially in here. And just at the last second, it occurred to me, why don't I just laser weld it on the inside and not even touch the outside? Because there you'll never see it. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So let me give it a shot. All right, I'm really glad that I just thought of laser welding those on the inside. It's a much better look, and we'll take a real good picture. But now I'm going to do something I absolutely hate to do, because it only happens like maybe once, maybe twice a year, is I've got to put a new buff on. My last one is finally worn out, and I hate the first use of a new buff, because watch stuff start flying off of it. Stuff gets all in your mouth. So now, got it polished. Let's throw it in the cleaner. Leave it in there for a minute. Let's see what we got.